Cafe 43 is nestled on the grounds of the George W. Bush Presidential Center. So, who better to show us a President's Day meal? Please welcome Executive Chef John MAAS of Cafe 43, making chicken poblano white bean chili that I wish you could smell. It is just the most aromatic dish. What are you doing?
It's a really simple and straightforward dish. It's good. It's a good alternative, you know, a little lighter dish. You know, essentially all we do is we start with simple yellow onions and poblano peppers, diced, which I've got cooking over here, simmering, and you sweat these down, let them become tender, get all the good flavors out, little garlic in there, and then the base of the chili, which is poblano.
Yes.
And you know,
and tomatillos.
I'm sorry, tomatillo. Yes. Yeah. And you peel the husk, rinse them, and then I puree them in the blender.
Do you cook them in chicken broth or anything?
Uh-huh. And actually, I'll get to that in just a second. The chicken, I like to take a whole chicken and simmer it with just
one that you have cooked, or not one roasted at the grocery store?
Well, you can use a rotisserie from the grocery store. Absolutely, absolutely. I prefer to take a whole one, cut it about 8 pieces, simmer it, and then use that liquid as the base for the chili.
As the base for the chili.
So it's got a tomatillo and chicken stock or chicken broth base, or even in a pinch, you get away with a little water.
It's just beautiful. And these are cannellini beans?
These are
cannelli beans?
Cannellini beans. Great Northern, even navy beans would work. You know, at the restaurant and at the center, we cook them from scratch, but canned beans work fine.
You do everything from scratch at the restaurant, don't you, pretty much?
Just about everything we can.
You know, everybody that I have talked to that has been to your restaurant comes back not only blown away by the museum itself and the graciousness and the history of the museum, but the food in your restaurant. So, I mean, it's a great marriage, it must be. How did they find you?
I don't know. We just all came together. I knew some people had already been hired, and it just worked out.
Jupiter aligned with Mars, and there you were.
Yes.
All right, now we've got the beans in there. And you're going to add the chicken.
Chicken, like I said, I prefer to, cook it myself, but a rotisserie is fine. Even just cooked diced chicken breast works fine.
And is it only chicken breast? I thought I saw some thigh in there, maybe?
Yeah, this is the whole chicken. This is the thigh, the leg, the breast, even
and I love it's not shredded. I love that.
You want the big chunks in there so you get a little texture and everything.
I see. What else? Corn.
Fresh corn.
Great, fresh.
Yeah. And again, you could substitute in canned or even frozen corn in a pinch if you needed to.
But nothing like fresh.
Nothing like fresh. We've got cilantro and fresh oregano that go in there.
You don't use dried cilantro ever, do you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Or like basil. You don't use that ever.
You know, occasionally on something that's going to cook for a really long time, like a good, really hearty stew, may go in early with dried and then again late with fresh.
You've got lime, and what is this, cumin?
This is cumin, yes. All right, cumin.
I'm so excited about eating this.
A little for flavor.
Okay, where's the broth? Chicken broth?
Yeah, broth would go in at this point, but we, we're pretty close here. What I like to do when I serve the soup is there's any number of garnishes you can use. Cheddar cheese, queso fresco. If you don't want any cheese, you can use sour cream, tortilla strips, chopped fresh cilantro. There's any number of ingredients you could put on there. And this is actually a dish that we served recently to President Bush and Mrs. Bush.
You did? How did they like it?
Luncheon. It was very well received. We've run this a few times in the restaurant as well.
So what kind of food do you serve in the restaurant? Do you serve things like soups and
We've got soup, salads, sandwiches. We have fresh seafood options. We've got pasta. It's been interesting trying to develop a menu out there because we really want to appeal to the variety of people that come to visit the museum.
Because that's the purpose of the museum. So what we can do is when you go to that museum, you've got to go in and eat in that museum and taste this man's incredible food.
Would you like to try some?
Yes, I would. Right. They're open for lunch 7 days a week, and the cafe is a great spot to try. For the recipe made here today, log on to our website, the broadcast broadcasttv.com and click on today's links. And if you've got kids or maybe you are one at heart, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. We're taking you inside one of the largest toy trade shows in the world when we come back. Beautiful.